Hi there, it's Bridget. Hey FairyGrasshopper, it's nice to see you today. I said in a recent video on Above Life channel that I would talk to you guys about life review. I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about life review, what it is and what it means. Now, I first learned about life review from the archangels. The archangels will often help us to, at any point in our lives, take stock, take a moment to pause and kind of look over our lives. If we're contemplating a change, it could be something like a career and pursuing a dream. Maybe you're thinking about writing a book, or maybe you've had a very difficult experience where you've been forced into a situation where you have to kind of take stock of things. Maybe it's a divorce, maybe it's the loss of someone that you love or care about. Maybe you've been through some trauma. And the life review gives you a perspective of what it is that you actually want, what you are connected to as just at the soul core of your being, that little seed of light in your belly, what you wanted to come into this lifetime to have, to experience, and to understand. And through the understanding of we are not what happens to us, we are what we collectively as a whole choose through all the different choices that we have that are strung together, like those Christmas tree lights on that tree. When one of those light bulbs goes out, sometimes the whole strand is messed up and you got to kind of find which place is out of sync or out of alignment. Well, when you're going through stuff, sometimes the archangels in particular will step in and help you to stop and get a clear perspective about this particular experience, event, or change that you're contemplating, or intense emotion that you're feeling. And at this crossroads, I guess it's hard to say. It's hard for me to depict the understanding of life review as one thing. Many people, I think, consider it like a end of life thing, and that is how I experienced it myself at first. When I think it was when my dad died, and I had this understanding afterwards. If you haven't seen my story, go ahead and check out on FairyGrasshopper my How I Got Psychic story. I also share it on Above Life channel on YouTube, and I've shared it on AboveLifeChannel.com on my website under About Me or my services, so you can understand kind of my backstory about that. But I remembered after kind of becoming like a woke psychic and working with archangels, I could look back and actually see the times that my dad was having his life review with his spirit team. And it's not just angels for people, but that's how I've experienced it. I work with archangels so much, you guys, so often. And so that's how I've experienced it. And it seems as though an Archangel Azrael is one of the archangels, very yellow, very spirit chakra, solar plexus connected. One of the angels between heaven and earth as a messenger. Other angels that will work with this is Archangel Gabriel, again, the spiritual messenger angel. And he's a little more orange, can also show up at masculine or feminine, so it can be a feminine energy of connection. They're a little orange energy, sometimes very gold, for me very gold. But when I see him working with life review stuff, it's a little more, it's deeper in the physical body. It's more closer to the root chakra, which is the sacral chakra, which is a little bit more orange, which is our relationships, our life mission, our purpose, that kind of thing, deeper, really rooted, connected. And then also Jeremiel. Archangel Jeremiel, a little bit of yellow energy, a little more sunflower yellow, kind of more of a muted yellow tone, and a little more pragmatic and kind of practical, very structured and a little more intellectual, life coach-like, can also serve with life review. Now, you can ask for a life review as well. It doesn't just happen at the end of your lifetime when you're looking back and you're on your deathbed and you're like, oh my gosh, I have all these regrets. It's not that necessarily. You can actually request a life review to have a support during that divorce, or when you're contemplating writing that book, and really if it's the right time for you, and where to focus and who to ask for support, whether it's a writing coach or an editor, that kind of a thing. Literally, you can ask for a review and get some insight. It's not just usually a one-time session, but it's this kind of almost like a journey, like a shaman style journey from my experience. And you can see it over the course of time, over a few days or a few weeks, with lots of different pieces of information getting plugged in to look at like a collage or a picture. So when I've seen life review on the deathbed, or the experience like with my dad, it was very much over the course of about a day and a half, maybe 2 days, and where there were visitations he was having, and at the time when I was there. And then also, as others recounted experiences they were having with him during the time he was in the hospice care and the ICU and then the hospice care. Other people would recount some experiences that they had or strange conversations they had with him where he was sharing some stories about what was happening or what was going on. And very clearly I was able to, oh, this is a life review. This is what's happening. These things that were important to him, he's being able to reconnect with and our treasured experiences in our lifetime. The good stuff comes through. Believe it or not, when you're at that point in your life review, isn't all about all these bad things that you didn't do. It's never about the levity of, well, you should have done a better job. It's never about that. It's always about amplifying the good and allowing for personal forgiveness and healing. That's what it's about, to be able to release, release, release. And so much of the release is not about other people or coming to terms with other people's stuff or saying your piece to somebody else or making sure that they know you're sorry or whatever it might be, or, you know, patching up a relationship. It's not that. It's this inner peace, this inner patching up, this inner mending that has to happen so that the soul can be free, to be released from this lifetime, so that the next time the soul decides to reincarnate, if it does, then there is a clarity there. There is not the baggage, the old stuff from the past lives that you're dragging into the next lifetime. It's this opportunity for this mending inside. And because of that, the amplification of the good is the dominant presence. It's the dominant presence. It's the mind that when the person is still in their right mind or not under too much sedation or medication, that they might start to, or if they have a diagnosis where they have like a terminal illness and they know they have 3 months, 6 months, a year, that the mind might start taking stock of things. That's different than a life review. That is a little more of an intellectual, almost self-coaching kind of style, and working through different things that the brain needs to feel like it has to accomplish. I'm talking about life review from a spiritual context, okay? And it really does affect your soul, your spirit chakra, your yellow solar plexus right in your belly chakra, okay? Also, of course, the heart space as well from the healing perspective. I see Archangel Raphael as I'm talking with you about this, so I want to make mention. Healing is a huge part of this. Raphael is a healing angel and helps the physical body to come to terms with peace, the peace of leaving things undone. Things need to be left undone. You're never going to get it all done. You're not supposed to get it all done. You're not supposed to. The intention of your life is that seed that you came into this lifetime with. It's not a particular destination or something to check the box. It is a series of experiences and dynamic processes and understandings and mishaps and mistakes and devastating experiences, as well as incredibly uplifting moments. It's a collection, a collage of things. And the life review can serve you well while you are still a human person in this life. Again, going through, like you're at a crossroads and you're at a major milestone change. You might be an empty nester all of a sudden, or like I said, divorce, or you may be at a place where you've lost your job and you just don't know. You're like, what do I do now for a career? Do I just go back to where I was? Do I do this? Do I move? What do I do? You know, maybe you're at a point where you're retired or you're contemplating retirement. And you're like, what do I do? Like, what happens? You just stop going to work and then don't have money for things? Like, what happens? You know what I mean? It's like, there's a lot of questions and there's not a lot of answers, but it's the asking of the questions that provide the stepstones to lead you into what is next for you. And so life review can serve you in that way when you're at a crossroads or when you're at a point in your life where you really can feel like there's an ending. Like we're done with this. Like, I'm really done with this and I feel like it's done. So now what? The now what part is where we all are at right now collectively. The now what? Like, what's next? Now what? Now what? And that can be daunting, that can be scary, that can be super intimidating and overwhelming, especially for empaths, which if you're watching the FairyGrasshopper channel, you're totally an empath, which means you're very psychic in your heart space, you're very intuitive in your heart. The feelings and emotions, things kind of get mixed up sometimes for you. And you take a lot of stuff personally because you're constantly absorbing energy, because that's how you're being intuitive and you're tuning into stuff. So the knowing your stuff and what's yours and what's not yours is going to be really helpful. And during a life review, you're going to get that. And you can invite your healing helpers, whether you work with spirit guides, like animal totems, like an owl or a turtle to help you out, or maybe a saint or a god goddess aspect like Lakshmi or Mother Mary. However that works for you, you can invite your team in and start working with them in regards to a life review if you really do need to have that. It gives you a different kind of perspective. So that's a little bit of information about life review from my perspective. Now remember, I am one view. I'm one filter. I'm one lens, because I've had experiences at end of life. I'm not only for my dad, but also for my grandfather as well. But I've also had understanding from the afterlife communications that I've had with lots of different spirits and how they perceive the life review when they talk about what point that happened for them. And it's not always like right before they die. Sometimes it's like 3 days before they die, or a week before they die, or whatever, or right after death, especially if it's like death is a quick thing. They have an opportunity to look back over their life, to reflect, but it's not for punishment or, oh, you should have known better, you're not getting a grade. It's not like a thesis where you have to like present your information, or your doctoral defense thing, you know, where you have to just, you know, like a collegey thing where you have to like pass something. It's not about that. It's not about that. You know, it's like you incarnated, you came into a body with as that little seed of light that you are. That's when you pass the test. You got here. That takes courage. Let me tell you, that takes more guts than anything. You came in with that. You came in with the courage that you need. All right? All right, my friends. It's a little chilly out here today, I have to say. Woo! Send me some warm vibes, will ya? Will ya? It's getting cold, and I don't want it to be cold. It's actually springtime. It needs to be like sunny warm here. Or I need to go someplace sunny warm. Maybe that's my life review. It needs to say that I need to move to Florida or something. Hey, there's a difference between life review and dreams and desires. Let's just be clear on that. Let's just be clear on that. All right. Thank you so much for watching, Fairy Grasshoppers. Before you leave, be sure to subscribe to the Fairy Grasshopper channel so you never miss a new video. I try to record at least twice a week here to give you information about intuitive topics, to share with you some cool, fun, inspiring card readings, or to have some vlog time with you about real life. Like, how do I work as a real person while I'm like psychic and intuitive? It's not as tricky as you might think it is. Let's just be honest. It's really not. But it can be kind of dramatic and quite interesting at times. Hey, thanks so much for being here. I hope I've inspired your spirit today, filled you with some hope, and encouraged you to live your life, because that's the purpose after all, for you to live your life. It's your life after all, so live it. Just live it. Thanks for being here.